Hello, welcome to another episode of Aaron's 1025R Adventures. Today what we're going to do is build a pallet for my fuel tank. I got the idea for the fuel tank from Mike Morgan from Outdoors with the Morgans, and then I've embellished a little bit on it, and I've got a certain way I want to build my pallet. So the tank, the fuel pump handle, and the fuel filter I've already assembled, and I'll show you what I did there. And then we're going to build the pallet today. So what I'll do next is show you the tank as it's assembled now, and then I'll show you the ideas I have on the pallet. Okay, what I have here is a 50-gallon fuel transfer tank by Jawbox. I got it at my local farm and fleet. Has all the warnings here for what you're supposed to use it for and not. I have a fill right 20 gallon per pump, or 20 gallon per minute, whatever it is. It's a higher capacity hand pump. And what I've done is I've plumbed it in to their fuel filter. And it comes around, and this is what I'll use to fill my tractor. This board is a piece of scrap that I have left over that I'm going to use to nail to the pallet I'm building to help support this and help carry some of the weight. So we have several dimensions we got to look at when we're working on our pallet. So let me show you the back of my truck here. And I want my diesel fuel tank to sit in here between the tailgate and that box. So that's 30 inches deep. And what I want to do is to be captured in between the edges of my wheel wells, which is 50 inches across. So what I've done is I've gotten 3 8-foot 1 by 8 inch boards and cut them in half so they're 4 foot long. I've also got 1 8-foot 1 by 6 and cut it in half. So that'll give me 8, 16, 24 plus another 6 gives me my 30 inches. These are landscape timbers. The reason I use them is it reduces the height a little bit rather than using a 4x4. Also, it gives me this rounded edge here, which will stick out and help guide me when I sit down in between my wheel wells. I have a height challenge on this because of the camper shell on my truck. It's a tall shell, but still it'll give me some issues when I'm loading and unloading, especially if once I add the pallet height to it. So some other things to consider are I have my John Deere forks here, and I've measured the outside to outside at 39 inches, so I have to have at least that spread, and then the inside spread is 32 3/4, and the height of my fork is about 1.5 inches. So with these landscape timbers, and all this wood is outdoor wood. Landscape timbers are 2 3/4, so that gives me plenty of space to get my forks in. The other critical measurement is how far apart these mounting tabs are. So I am at 24.5 inches across. So I have my boards pre-cut. I have my tools laid out here. I didn't grab my drill. I'll have to do that in between shots. I've got construction adhesive. I got my framing nail gun, the 3/8 bolt hardware and washers and lock nuts that came with the fuel tank. I'm replacing those with 3/8 eyelets so that I can have tie down points on all four corners of the fuel tank. I've got a 9/16 socket and a wrench there and a marker to help mark my holes. Over here on my stall mat that I used to hook and unhook my mower deck, I've laid out my first two boards. And what I've done is use the 3-4-5 rule. So this is actually 3 foot. It's a drywall square that I have keeping this side square. I have a 4 foot level here, and when I measure from this point to this point is 5 foot. So I know that is square then. So my distance across is 50 inches. Well, I have a 48-inch level, so I lined up 2 inches there and then measured across from there to here to make sure I was at 50 inches. So that is now square. And then what I'll do next is I'll turn off the camera, take a quick break, line up my other runner pieces, grab my drill, and we'll look at what's going on next. Okay, what I've done here is laid in my 2 cinder runners that my fuel tank will actually bolt to. And these are spaced out from this edge to this edge, 7.5 inches from each side. It gives me 24.5 inches center to center. So when I set my fuel tank on there, the mounting tabs, the holes will be centered there. The other critical dimension was when we checked our forks, they were 39 inches. So that goes to there, but the insides were at 33. Just a shade under 33, I think they were 32 1/4. So they'll fit around these inner supports. So what we're going to do next is grab my first board, get it ready, grab my other 2 boards, so I have them all ready to go. Those are my 3 8-inch wide boards. Here's my one 6-inch wide to give us our 30 inches of depth. So since I don't want this coming apart, I'm also going to use construction adhesive. Besides the nails to hold everything together. So we're going to lay a bead down across here. There we go. That'll give us the extra bonding we need. And we'll take our first board. up there. Try to get it evenly spaced across. Flush with the ends. Lay our second board up. Our third. Our fourth. Of course not. Why should I have fallen for that? Let me put my 6-inch board up there. Important part's building this top deck anyway. We can fudge on the bottom, as most pallets don't have boards all the way across the bottoms anyway. There we go. Okay, looks like I got the ends pretty flush. Now what I'm going to do is loosen this. Set it, be my guide. For nailing. So I should be able to put my row of nails right down here. So what I'm going to do to start is I'm just going to put one on each board. That'll give me my line. That looks pretty square. It's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be super perfect. Okay, so there's the top of my heavy duty pallet. What I'm going to do next is turn off the camera, flip this over, I'll go ahead and fasten the boards on the bottom. It'll be the same process, I'll just have a gap in between them since I miscalculated, and then we'll flip it back on top like this. So I'll be back in a minute. Side, I did the same thing, I put the adhesive down. The 3 sets of nails on each board on the outside and 1 nail on the inside. Bottoms of most pallets only have a board at the outside and one skinny one down the middle. So even though I didn't fill it in, it's not a big deal. I put these gaps here at 1.5 inches. Bumped them in so they're pretty even on the ends, even on these ends also. Nailed them down. Next thing I'll do is I'll turn off the video, pull this pallet out of the way, put a couple boards down so I have room to drill, and then I'll set the transfer tank on top, square it up, and mark the holes where I'm going to drill at. The pallet back over. I set it up on some scrap 4x4 pieces I had, so I have space underneath so when I drill I don't have to worry about it. I've lined this edge up 1 inch back from the from my front of my tank. So there's a drain plug over here, so it needs to set back so the drain plug is behind the front edge. And what that does is it also keeps this fuel filter inside the edge of this. So that's protected too. I'll hit the end of the pallet before I hit the fuel filter, hopefully. And then what I did was I took my straight edge, my two 4-foot levels, and I lined them up through the center of the bolt holes and made sure I was relatively centered on my support pieces I have underneath there to make sure I get drilled into it. So what I'll do next is mark my holes I'm going to drill. I need to get a new camera. I keep carrying it around my cell phone because that's how I know what my GoPro is looking at. Well, I don't like that hole because it falls right in the middle of that seam. So I'm actually going to go with this hole on this one. I'll just color it in so I know which one I'm going for. The tabs are kind of not square across from each other. But I'll go with the same hole on this side, just because it's centered on the board better. Now the front, I'll go with the far front hole. This one, the outside wouldn't have been too bad because it's not right on the seam. And I am going down into my landscape timber, so it may not, it wouldn't hurt me to go through there. You know what, I think I will. I'll go ahead and go through there. I've got this support beam underneath. That pulls my mounting point farther to the back. I make this up as I go. Alright. So what we'll do here is I'll take a short break with the camera while I drill these holes out. This is a 3/8 bit. What I'll do is I'll set that down, help keep myself square. We'll get these drilled out and see how it looks. Okay, what I've done is I've drilled the holes all the way through using this long bit I got from either Home Depot or Lowe's, I don't remember. Then on the bottom side I took an 1.5-inch hole saw and I drilled through the first board so that this nut and washer will be countersunk. These are 7-inch stainless steel eye bolts from Home Depot. So what I'm doing is putting a big washer on there, dropping it through. I'm making sure this part of the loop is to the back, so when I tie to it, I'm on the stronger part there. I'm using a crescent to hold this and 9/16 deep socket to install it on the bottom. So what I'll do is I'll show you the underside. Now my eye bolts are long, so I'm going to take this grinder and carefully reach under there and cut them flush with the bottom. Let me show you what I got going on. Now, as a safety thing, do not get under this. This is not supported. I shouldn't even be reaching my arms under there. Do not get your whole body under there. There you can see the bolt and sunken washer. What I'll do is I'll take the die grinder and I'll cut that off right there. Okay, so I cut off the ends of the eye bolts. If you intend to remove them, the best thing to do would be to run a die onto them, cut them off, and then pull the die back off so that you have nice clean threads. But I don't intend to loosen this up at all. I also put in some more nails using my framing gun. And now we're going to put on this support. All this support is for is just to give me some support on this pipe and this filter, so when I'm twisting it and stuff, I don't loosen everything up. Also kind of gives me a little bit extra guard right here. This is about fairly flush with the end of this. Actually, let me move it out a little bit more. There we go. I'm not quite touching here, but if I lean on it, it touches, so that way I can't put too much pressure on this and bust this or crack it, or not that it should. So what I did was I put my adhesive glue down there, and I have deck screws I'm going to put through here. I'm going to pre-drill a guide hole. Now remember, I'm not carrying a bunch of weight. All I'm trying to do is just give it some support here. This was a Bosch T25 bit that I picked up that was on sale one day. Nice long bit. There we go. Now I got great support for that. Only reason it's wobbling is because it's just on these 4x4s. Now this is pretty green wood. So what I'll do is I'll keep it stored out of the weather for a year. And then once it dries out more, after a year, I'll take some oil stain and stain it as best I can. They'll help protect it even more. At least get the top part of it stained and this post stained. And over the edges, I can flip it off, I can stain the bottom boards, and that'll help seal everything. But I'm going to wait about a year, like I said. I'll watch how I store it, that way it can dry out really good and it'll absorb that stain. So I know I have a clearance issue with the top of my camper shell. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and unlock this and lay it down. And then we'll go see how it fits. Okay, let's fire this up and see how this fits. I had tried it once. I forgot to hit the record button. And then my boards were just a shade too wide for inside my wheel well. I don't know if they moved a little bit. I didn't quite get my measurement just right. They're just barely too wide. So what I did was I sanded down the edges of it where the landscape timbers roll around and make that curve. So I flattened those out some, so hopefully it'll fit this time. We'll see how it goes. Still a little off on this. Looks like I gotta shave a little more to be able to get it fit in there. Once I get it shaved down and fit in there, it won't be going anywhere side to side. I'm a little cockeyed too right now. And this is really only the third time I've operated with my forks trying to do something precision. You can see right there, I need to shave it a little bit more and then it'll fit in there. This will be square. I can run a tie down from here to here or there to there. The wheel wells will keep it from going side to side. That'll work pretty nice. With the handle folded down, it just fits inside. So there you have it. There's my pallet and my fuel transfer tank. Hope you enjoyed watching this. Please like and subscribe. And I'm sure you got a good laugh out of my few little mistakes I made. Hope to see you in my next video. Have a good day. Thank you. There we go. Look at that fit. That is what I was going for.